Hello, hello, welcome to the Momentum podcast where we dive into the future of digital culture, art, and tech. My name's Stilo, I'm your host. I'm a metaverse explorer, and today we're exploring what's next in AI, blockchain, and the metaverse. So, whether you're a creator, an innovator, or just curious about where the digital landscape is heading, you're in the right place. All right. Today we have Charlene Nichols on the Momentum podcast. Hello, Charlene. How are you?
Hey, Stilo, thank you so much for having me and congratulations on launching this channel. My journey started with building a channel like this. I actually was pre Zoom. So before Zoom started offering webinar technology, I was using what was available at the time to build, immersive exploratory platforms with whatever I can get my hands on, just because I really saw an early need for connective experiences. Physical events just weren't working anymore. As new technology has emerged, it's made it easier for everyone to really connect with their audiences in ways like this. And I know the amount of work it takes, whether it's a huge conference or like a consistent channel to keep this going. So thank you for having me and, keep up the good work.
Well, thank you. I've had the pleasure of meeting you in the new internet Web3, and that is various platforms that are like favorable of Web3. What platforms are you most active on these days? And, how much time are you spending marketing, branding, compared to building? Like, what phase are you in right now of your journey?
Oh, you asked three very good questions there. So let me take them one at a time. Um, when we talk about platforms, this is a word that I think really needs to be defined coming into the new era that we're in, because technically I'm a platform as a human, and so are you, right? I'm an access point, I'm an information center, I'm a resource hub, and so are you. And you are connected to a network as much as I am. And if you and I are good platforms and we're interoperable platforms as human beings, forget about the technology, even blockchain, let's just put all that aside, because we weren't born with that technology. We all created it to facilitate a need. But what we were born with was our innate ability to network and collaborate and work together, even from the early stage of hunting and gathering. So, as a platform, I would say I spend as much time as I can being present and aware and identifying the people around me. I've learned to really become less internal and more external, and really becoming a good listener and understanding not what people are doing, but why they're doing it, whether I like it or not. It's really intentions is a great thing. So I would say when it comes to, I know what you're probably asking is what digital platforms. Obviously, Omniverse City is my preferred choice. And I've met a lot of companies that have joined Omniverse City as early adopters. And when you join Omniverse City, you don't just build like a space. And technically, our building tools haven't even launched yet. So if you build today, you're building with us, not with the tools that we give you. However, that is coming, and I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm keeping Omniverse City live here so I can have it open when we go. So bear with me if I flip back and forth. But my early adopters, and again, we're talking about 3 years now that Omniverse City has been live. That's not a short time in metaverse years. That's pretty much as early in the beginning as you can get, right? My early adopters were what I call legacy leaders, platform developers, product developers, startups, people that had been leaders in their industry for very, very long time, some 30, 40, 50 years. Not typically the people you would find in a metaverse, but people that knew nothing else was working. So I'm open to ideas type of crew. And I, I brought them all together with themselves as the platform. And then I built this kind of like series of rabbit holes that were not mandatory. So not like, oh, well, if you really want to enjoy us, you have to create an avatar and you have to move around. You're one of the best at that, if not the best, at getting people into spaces and really emoting and really moving and really like being present in the virtual space. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that just like watching. They don't even want to jump in and be an avatar, but they still feel like they were there, right? How many people like, I want to talk,
Mhm.
I'm going to finish answering your question, Steve, but I want to ask you, how many people tell you, wow, that was great? You're like, you were there? No, I watched it. But you weren't there. But but the question is, were they? Like, tell me about that a little bit. Have you had that experience?
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of people watch the events after on YouTube, on X TV. Now that X has an app on the TV, so the events just look so great. And they'll play it like while they cook dinner, hanging out in the living room with their kids, and it's fun. It's a fun experience.
So again, I'm going to finish answering your question, but I want to take a step back because a lot of what we learn is through experimenting, right? Very much of what we learn, all, if not all of it, is through experimenting. There's no roadmap. By the way, have you found the roadmap to the metaverse? Do you have it, or is it? Are you hiding it? Is it secretly hidden under your desk? Do you
N-
like? Is it like tucked in your shirt somewhere? Like, can you just tell me, like, is there a secret recipe to how to metaverse?
Well, I would say that there's a vision, and like you kind of have to see what you feel in your gut, could really happen. And for me, I really do envision waking up in a couple years, seeing a thriving hub, a platform that allows your creators to meet each other. Like a lot of times, a lot of people go to conferences. It's really not to see a certain person, but it's to meet like-minded individuals, to network and collaborate. So I do see the waking up, and instead of maybe texting your friend, you're gamifying. You're kind of going to their space, going to their site, like free platform, whatever platform they're at, and like you go there to say hi. Depending on how it is. Sometimes your closest friends are obviously the ones in your neighborhood, so you're going to see them first, and stuff. Like for me, I am venturing out more now into Decentraland and stuff like that for special events, because I've made special connections with people that are there, and they're just I want to see them, and that's how I can see them, mostly when besides them coming to my show. But I want to keep these questions like real simple, really short. I'm sorry I kind of gave you too many, but please go ahead
No,
and
no, no.
finish.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So where I was going with this is when I launched Omniverse City, the platform that I was using to pixel stream had sunset right before I had launched my platform. I hosted this big, huge event on another platform to launch my existing platform, which was like a almost like a virtual trade show type of platform, because I pretty much knew that my audience was all completely neophyte to virtual exploration. And 3 years ago, I think most of us were. But these were professional medical professionals. So it was highly unlikely that they were going to create avatars and run around. So thankfully, when I created this event, I had done it. And I'm going to
What
share
year
my
was
screen.
that?
That was right at the end of 2021, going into 2022.
Okay.
So, and
So
I'll
so
take
for
you to.
everyone listening, Charlene Nichols, okay, when did you find the metaverse? How did you hear about it?
Well, I built what you see here about a year before Facebook changed their name to Meta. So I didn't know that I was building a metaverse. I just knew I was building a virtual world where people needed to be connected. And then the word metaverse became like viral. And then I went to the NFT NYC conference, which is near me, because I felt a little kind of like, wait a second, I'm delivering this product and I'm not entirely sure if I'm qualified to be calling it a metaverse. This is back then before I knew what I
Mm,
knew now. So I wanted to go and meet people like you, people that were there, and really just get their opinion and be like, do you feel I have the right to call this a
no
metaverse? Like
way.
what?
So how did you feel when in October of 2021 Mark Zuckerberg made the announcement?
Right.
What was going through your mind when you saw that YouTube video or you saw that clip on your phone? You're like,
So everyone called me that knew me and said, Facebook stole your idea.
no way.
I'm like, no, he did not steal my idea. Like, believe me, I don't know what he's doing because at that point we hadn't really seen it yet. We were just seeing those videos.
Uh-huh.
I said, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm pretty sure it's not what I'm doing. I'm pretty sure it's much better. And then I started seeing some of the early iterations of what people were calling a metaverse. And I was like, hold on, I'm here feeling insecure.
S-
Meanwhile, what I'm building looks better than almost anything I'm seeing. And it wasn't an ego thing. I was shocked. I'm like, come on, with all the technology, this is the best we can do. Little
Right.
floating torsos. Like I couldn't believe it. So then I got this new confidence. But the confidence that I got came at the same time as people coming to me saying, I really like what you built, but I don't want New York City. I don't want, a convention center. Like I want a fashion show. Can you build me a fashion show? And I'm like, sure, I'm sure I
Hmm.
can.
Have you
Yeah,
have you had a fashion show ever? Have you experienced a fashion show in the
I,
metaverse?
I have hosted a phygital fashion show where
Nice.
we did a physical fashion show and we, incorporated it with the Omniverse City. Yes, we have done that.
So you had it. So for the people that are going to be watching this, so you had a fashion show in real life, and you projected the this digital space in for everyone to see that was there in real life, and the
No,
people
because
that
I
were there
didn't.
digitally could attend.
Yeah, I know I did not do it in real time because I had a concern that when people came and were there physically, and I have a small team, so I wasn't in a position to manage the physical fashion show and the virtual one. The virtual fashion show existed 2 years before the physical one. So there was really no connectivity between what you're seeing here, which is my virtual fashion show, and the actual fashion show. I wanted there to be, but there was just a lack of interest from the people participating in the physical fashion show to be virtual. So what I
Right.
did to solve that connectivity challenge, because obviously it can't be a literal digital twin, is I just brought them here and they were like, wow, you mean I can watch what's happening on the screen, which in real time you were able to, and I can be in an environment like a fashion show, even though I can't be where you are, which in this point was Denver. And
Right.
the answer was yes. Now, I had a much bigger vision, let me just be clear. But I just started to see some of the logistical challenges of everything, technology, people, managing it.
Right.
And I just decided I don't have to prove a point. Like people aren't asking me to be able to participate in the fashion show in real time. So why don't I just give them, like, put some of the elements to make them feel like they're there, but not put so much pressure on myself. And it really did work. People who came
So
here, go
so
ahead.
who went to the digital event? People
And
that could not make it to the physical?
So I found that there were two audiences that came to the virtual event during the physical, and it was a small audience. But one were diehard Omniverse City fans that were just like, if it's Omniverse City, I'm going. So that was the majority. The rest were people that were just like, I can't go physically, but I'm kind of curious about this. You have to understand the event itself
Yeah.
was monumental. It was a physical event that, for the first time ever, brought a professional sector of an industry and the consumer sector of the industry together. This is the optical industry. So we brought the people that make the glasses together with the consumers that buy the glasses. Typically, there's a layer in between the manufacturer and the consumer, which is the just the retail outlets that the manufacturers sell through, and they came too. So we just said, look, who cares what role you have in buying or making glasses? Let's all just come together and let's just share insights. Let's talk about gaming in eyewear and fashion in eyewear and sustainability in eyewear. And it really resonated. It was a challenging event. It was the first time ever doing something like that for me personally. A physical event is very different than a
And
virtual event. But
when was this?
this was in June of this year.
Okay. And so again, when did you find the metaverse? Like when did you first hear about it? Or okay, like when were you first introduced to like the possibility like to make you create yours before, a year before the actual announcement? The way I heard
So
about it was from Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm just curious, like, how someone like you would have known.
I didn't know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like,
Mm,
I created these virtual trade
right,
show events, which were very much like where we're at now, right?
right.
And they were designed to sell. Again, I'll take you back to where it all started so we can make this make sense. So
Okay.
it started here. This is
Okay.
when I say it started here, Stilo, what I'm saying is there was nothing else. So I didn't have a metaverse. I didn't have the Omniverse City. I had what I asked for from my team, which was a virtual trade show
Okay.
that looks very real.
So what I
Where
mean is, okay, so let me rephrase. What I mean is, how did you learn about a virtual, just the element of being virtual?
I didn't. I just imagined it. I had a dream about avatars walking around a virtual space. And it was when I was at
Wow.
the end of my rope with these virtual events that we were doing. We were doing them every 90 days. We did them all through COVID. Because again, I told you we were doing these virtual events before Zoom.
Mm,
Out before Zoom.
right.
Like when Zoom first launched, I don't know if you remember
Got
this,
it.
but you were like falling off the channel, like it was kicking you out it was so disruptive. And it was the best technology at the time. Really stable streaming video technology didn't exist until a couple of years ago. It got stronger during the pandemic, but we were doing these events before the pandemic and we weren't getting any adoption. Everybody was making fun of me. I was an idiot. Like, why are you trying to go virtual? We're all going to these party towns to go to these physical events. Nobody wants to go to your, virtual events. And then the pandemic happened. So
Got
then
it.
so then I got the adoption I was looking for, but it wasn't really changing the buying patterns, which we needed the buying patterns to change because we weren't building events like Decentraland or Sandbox where you buy and sell property. We were selling these spaces, leasing them out to brands so that they could sell their product. But even though the right consumers were coming, so our marketing was working, the ideal audience was coming, we were creating that serendipitous factor where people are coming at the same time and connecting. I had events, Dilo, where the client who I was representing was sitting with the customer that they wanted to sell to that I also had to bring to the event for hours at tables talking about the future and what's going on in the industry and what are we going to do after the pandemic. But they weren't transacting. They weren't putting two and two together. So I decided I need to create an environment that to them signifies the behavior I want them to do, which is buying and selling, trading, if you will. So I just started with something super literal, which is a trade show. And I said, okay, if we bring you here, are you more likely to conduct business? I can't say that it helped it too much, but I noticed some new behaviors, such as people were actually looking at the products. They were asking for information about the products. They weren't just looking to connect to the people. And then, of course, at that moment is when the metaverse boom started because it took me a while to build this. It wasn't like I thought about it and it happened overnight. It took me about a year. It took me
What
a lot of
engine?
money. Go ahead.
What engine?
Unreal Engine.
Love
And
it.
everybody wanted to do Unity at the time. And I did my research and I found that the most real graphics were available through Unreal Engine. And my industry is exceptionally particular about gaming. They're just not interested in it at all. So I thought, okay, I've got to make this look as little like a game as possible. So it needed to look incredibly real.
Hmm.
And that was why we stuck with Unreal Engine. And we got stuck with the curse of pixel streaming, which is something if you've, built one of these worlds before, you're very aware of.
And now it's cloud based, right? A lot of people are doing cloud streaming on Unreal engines.
So that,
Just
that
be
is pixel streaming.
Oh, that is pixel streaming.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Good to
Yeah, yeah.
know.
So
See, that's
that
how we
is.
learn. Oh, also, I can't see your screen.
Oh, this whole time you haven't seen my screen? I've been
No.
sharing it. Huh. It's funny. I was
Oopsies.
sharing it. So let's try it again.
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Show on stream. Got it. Yes. Okay,
Okay.
we're in.
So you didn't see anything that I was showing you before.
No,
What did you see?
just your face.
Okay. So again, I'll just go back to where I was to give context to your
Yeah.
audience. So
S-
so and I think that might have helped answer your questions a little better. So this was the first thing that we created. This is what started it all. And then when I saw this, I was blown away. It wasn't what I was expecting. It was a zillion times better. So I needed to change my plan because I thought many more people in the optical industry are going to want to embrace this. And again, this is before Facebook made their announcement. So what I did was I built my favorite city in the world because in my industry, one of the biggest events happens in New York. Ironically, they moved it from New York after 40 something years, but up until next year, it's only been in New York. So I figured let's make them walk through the city, meaning my audience, to get to the portal to the event because I was listening for one thing, Stilo. I wanted to see if the people who came through the city to the portal, A, if they could find it, because it was an experiment to see how sophisticated users were willing to be, and B, if they would come to me and say, hey, can we rent those stores? I didn't tell them they could. I just wanted to see if they would ask me, and they did. So we started renting the stores, and the rest is history. And then right at that time that I started renting stores, I heard about the actual metaverse through, um, you know, what
Mark,
Facebook did when they changed their name. And I didn't just take Facebook's word for it. I actually went to the NFT NYC event because I wanted to meet people from the industry and get their opinion. And that's when I got
2021,
yeah, it was like 2022
22, yeah.
when I went to, NFT NYC and, I met with Xander Sims. I met him online and I said, "If I meet you at NFT NYC, will you show me the ropes and introduce me to people?" And he did. And,
Nice.
it was really shocking to me how packed that place was with people that were dreaming about this. But,
Hmm.
nobody had really built anything close to what I had. So
Wow.
I thought, wow, if I could just facilitate um, the Web3 market, then I could really dominate this. So that's when I built the Mint. This is our art
Question.
gallery.
So what do you say? For me, I've been in Omniverse and it ran pretty amazing. So can you like demystify the pixel streaming, cloud streaming, and Unreal Engine being heavy on computers
Yeah,
for
and I'm
us?
going to do it the best I can from my standpoint. Again, let me be very clear. Evidence to the fact that anyone can do this with a little bit of grit and determination and hard work, and you do need some money. But I got to tell you, I don't have an investor. I don't really have anyone that guided me through this. I had to figure it out all on my own. And I'm going to tell you from a non technical standpoint and from my experience working with my team, pixel streaming is basically a licensed technology that you can attach to Unreal Engine that allows you to create these GPU instances that are cloud based that are one for one. So every user gets their own server. Right now, I'm alone. I'm in the Omniverse City by myself, but there might be 100 people standing here with me. I could open up a rip in my portal and invite people into my portal, and then they would just start teleporting around me, and now I could travel with them. So, this group travel system is something that we had to build using a combination of the tools of Unreal Engine, pixel streaming, and then some proprietary technologies that we had to build. So, I think there's this myth that's out there that you just use these licensed technologies and stack them together, and that's how you win. And I think that's why companies are rising and falling very quickly. You have to fill in the gaps with your own proprietary technology. Very much
Love
like,
that.
go ahead, go run
No,
with that. Tell me what your thoughts
yeah,
are.
I love that. I love that. What I see is you using the virtual realm to to the capacity that you know of, and you don't know rules or limits, but you know that you need to get to the next cobblestone. So
Mhm.
I
That's
agree with you.
exactly
Yeah,
right. Yes.
I that for me as a musician, I'm like, okay, to get to my end goal, I need to get from B to C, C to D. So
Yeah,
yeah, kudos on
exactly right.
making that happen there.
Well, and I didn't know, listen, again, I didn't start thinking I want to build, a digital city or a replica of a city or anything. I started saying, I need to solve this problem and I need people to visualize the solution. And I couldn't think of any other way than to give them the visual representation of the solution I wanted them to embrace, which we did.
And
But this is no twin. This is just something we created out of our This is actually a AI powered image that I turned into a space,
dope.
right?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Unreal yourself?
Oh, no, no. My team, I have a team that does this.
Okay.
No, no, no.
Have you ever been blended with have you ever like dabbled with Blender or Unity at all? Just
Never.
curious. It's
No.
so what I'm hearing is Unreal is really dope to create with, you know. A lot of
Mhm.
people stay away because it's hard to process for a lot of like normies, you know. Um, but I
Yeah.
really do love what you're doing here. I really love the graphics, you know. And there's been some new platforms like VR platforms like Gorilla Tag. Have you heard of that? Where they created like a really dope experience. The graphics aren't like, you know, anything special, but it just goes to show like, we are looking, we are like diving into these virtual experiences, making connections, making friends, networking, having fun if it's just that's what
Well,
you're there for.
I want to go back to something that you had asked me before and just finish the question straight and succinctly. But then
Hmm.
I want to talk about this very specific space that we're in and why I designed it. But let me go back to your question about pixel streaming and its impact on resources that you have or you do not have. Um, I was not able to run my own platform to test it when my team built it. It wasn't until my team made my platform. This is when I started. I was the beginning. I was like early stage, like Steve Jobs building computers in his garage type of thing, right? That was the beginning. But it needed to be pixel streaming for me to see what my team had done. Like they were sending me videos of their progress. I couldn't even run it. Most people do not have the power to run something the size of Omniverse City on their desktop. So when I started doing pixel streaming a couple of years ago, I immediately understood that the cost was not sustainable. So today we actually have a new version of Omniverse City, which is called Odyssey. So I'll pull up the website so you could just see what Odyssey looks like. I'm super excited. Steve, you're gonna freak when you see
Nice.
what we built. Have you seen this new version? Have you like stumbled upon the like part of the website that's showing little
I
glimpses of
did.
this new version?
So I checked out the video. I checked out the video and I checked out like the licenses, saw District A, and yeah. Tell us more,
So we
and
designed,
tell
and
us
again, we call them
and tell
V1. Go ahead.
and tell us like the key features that make it really stand out.
Right, right. So V1, which is where we are now, right here, right? V1 is really more of a beginner space, and it's really for people that want to build spaces. So this particular space was built with the understanding from somebody who was working with me, who does a lot of like NLP. They work with people that deal with stress and anxiety. And they said, look, you're going to have a lot of people come here that are excited, and they're going to quickly get overwhelmed with the lights, with the sounds. So I came up with this concept of building um, let's call it a immersive studio where you could trigger different modes to see, do I enjoy flashing lights? Do I enjoy these different sounds? And in the future, very near future, you'll be able to set your um, like
Settings.
preferences that when you go into other people's spaces in real time, it'll actually adapt to you. So it'll lower the lighting, it'll lower the sound, it'll lower to your specific preferences in real time. Or you could just avoid them altogether if that's not possible. So this kind of dynamic discovery is going to be very important if we want to give people a good experience, because all these different worlds have all different, I mean, there's a zillion and one ways to build virtual spaces now. There's no one way, and there should be that many, but most people have preferences. And if we're going to be spinning off into all these different iterations of what these virtual worlds look like, and we don't understand from a professional standpoint how different light sounds and modes of content such as VR versus what we're looking at now, which is like semi immersive, impact someone even physically with their vision, with their binocular vision, with their brain's ability to process. There are a lot of things that we need to consider.
Hmm.
So the reason I did not do VR starting out was because I'm from the optical industry and I wanted to teach people that you can enjoy this content without putting these machines on your head. Because as much as I love VR, I actually do think we're going to find out in a couple of years that there's some very negative impacts to people using them and watching movies in them for long periods of time. And unfortunately, the studies aren't being done right now. So when those facts come out, I think you're going to find people wanting a way to enjoy these spaces, both with VR and in a way like this. So that's why I really dug my heels in. I was the first one building a space along with spatial that you can explore in real time, virtually in 3D like this. But there were limits to that kind of interconnected spaces that you can leapfrog back and forth to, which is pretty unique to
Wow.
Omniverse City. You can portal in
I
spatial
must say,
if you build a
it
portal,
looks
but
beautiful.
platforms are built the portals. So now Odyssey, which is V2, is a very specific platform. First of all, it's built with triple A game strategies and best practices. My new team, which is a different team than I built V1 with, um, is proficient in building triple A games. They've worked on Fortnite, Roblox, every platform that's out there. They are very, very, very knowledgeable. They have been working in Unreal Engine for more than 10 years, which means they know every iteration. Very important when you're working in Unreal Engine because it's changed quite a bit over the last 2 years. And the big thing that we've added to the features point that you're talking about, Stilo, is the Explorer that you're seeing here now. That means that you can
Hmm.
actually use a 2D interface to navigate through these 3D worlds, much like you would use an interactive directory in a mall. But unlike the mall, you could just click a point of interest and teleport there in real time. The other thing that we've done that's going to change the game is we've packaged it now for local download. That means that you can download the Omniverse City direct to your computer, even with a semi okay computer. I can't say that if you have a computer from like 20 years ago, it will work. But if your computer's been designed sometime in the last 5 years, and there's technical specs on the download, so you can see, what criteria there are. But it's if you can download to Windows a game, you can download this. And I'm not talking about big games. I'm talking about like if you could download Zoom, you could download this, right? So we have a Windows download. You download it to your computer, you run it through Windows, and you could actually bring up to 20 of your friends, and you now become the streaming platform. You can have up to 20 people in your space with you. And there's no pixel streaming costs. So this means that you can host events, Stilo, without the disruption of people coming and they're stuttering off and everything from your laptop, from your desktop or your laptop, very, very, very securely, very privately, and very with a lot of stability, just from your desktop.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're definitely gonna have to plan an event here. What? So is it like? So if I is so if I it's live today. I can download it today.
Yes. Now we had the original download live, but we weren't super in love with the installer experience. We wanted it to be aligned with it was a Google Drive. So we were in the process of making the download experience just an experience. We want it to be positive. We want people to, when a lot of people won't download something if it doesn't look and feel trustworthy. So that front end experience is being worked on now. I'm pretty sure it's live. But if not, let me
Yeah.
know and we'll make sure that we send you a copy so that you can experience it.
Cool. That's awesome. So
I
you're
also,
telling, yeah.
go ahead. I'm listening. I'm listening.
So you're telling me like I can download this. I can go in here. I can share the link with a friend and they can join me in this in District A.
Well, and any part of Omniverse City, but um, do you have like another 3 minutes?
Yeah, we're good on time.
Like, do we have 3 minutes to show like a quick video? Okay.
Of
So what
course.
I'd like to do, because I could have pull it up and open it right now, but it's just going to take a little while. So I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Okay.
Walk us through here.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay. So I'll
I
turn the
did
sound
see.
off. So essentially, District A is the arcade district. It is very different than the other districts because there's a lot of people that have Fortnite games, they have Roblox games, and they meet on Discord, they meet on, a lot of other platforms to build and host their communities, but this kind of gives a gamified community development system. And we do have an additional layer, which is our meeting layer. It is completely decentralized. It is AI harvest free. Nobody accesses that data but you. So if you're building something in private and you don't want to be sharing it through WhatsApp or Zoom or any of the places where we know I mean, the terms of service say it, your information is going to be accessed and used. They're not even being shy about it, right? And AI is, making it easier than ever for companies to comb through and find really like what are people working on type of stuff. So
Hmm.
one of the biggest things we found from the founders we're working with is a real desire to be able to meet in private. So that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is the ability to create these private meeting instances that are off of the Omniverse city. So you could meet in these private portals, kind of like we're meeting right now in Restream. However, when we leave, that this is done. You get another instance the next time, right?
Hmm.
But imagine if this studio, Stilo, was 24/7 and you never shut it down. So every time you met with someone like me, the recording would live in your studio. And then anybody who was a member of your studio could go in and they could see that, right? So let's say you did a tour. Let's say we were going through the Omniverse city together right now and we were exploring it together and we had 50 people with us. Somebody who hadn't become a member yet could either join you live and hang out that one time if they show up at the right time, or they could become a member and get alerted whenever you do these tours so they can get the replay. So this ability to create these disruption free connective communities is really where the future needs to go. Unfortunately, platforms don't want to give people that much control, so we've basically made control our biggest commodity. Control is a currency, right? And not meaning we have it, meaning we don't have it. We don't have it because we gave it to you and everyone like you because we trust you. There's great people out there that want to do great things and they just don't want anything to get in their way anymore. And we're here to say, amen, let's do it.
Nice. I'm loving the privacy for sure. That's definitely a huge one. Um, that's actually really amazing. It should be, it's actually uh, definitely raised my eyes a bit, opened my eyes a bit. So, loving the privacy and I'm loving the vision for what you're doing because, it kind of gives a little bit of a decentralized vibe. And I was wondering, so like when people are in here, like in Omniverse City, so what do you see like the max, like, if this city was just open? And there could be 1,000 people, 5,000 people in here, maybe 100. How do you see what do you see people doing here? Running around, racing. I saw the car. That's super cool. How do you envision this Omniverse city in 2 years from now at this moment? How would you envision the future?
Ooh, 2 years from now, let's answer that. In 2 years from now, every one of our professional partners, people that want to not just enjoy Omniverse City as a visitor, like when you go to the mall,
If they want to
um,
work there.
but they want to have a shop in the mall, right? I don't
Nice.
want to just visit, although I'll visit my neighbors, but I want to be a part of the neighborhood. I don't want to be a visitor in the neighborhood. I don't want to be alone
Right.
at the block party. I want to be one of the hosts of the block party.
Right.
So we're actually building that through our membership architecture. And this membership architecture is very similar to some structures that you're going to be familiar with, like NFTs and DAOs and all of those things. However, very, very, very important, Stilo, we are blockchain agnostic because I'm going to have and we have people building on Omniverse City right now that have a Wax infrastructure, an Ethereum infrastructure, a fiat infrastructure, a rupee infrastructure. It does not matter what your currency architecture is.
Yes.
You are going to be able to do business through the ultimate platform, which is you, peer to peer. Whatever money you use, that's secondary. But what's primary is that you can do business in your preferred mode of commerce with whomever you'd like to in Omniverse City. Now, here's the problem with that: too many options, right? It confuses people. So, going back to your 2-year vision, everybody who wants to be in control of their currency and their mode of commerce can come to me and say, very first, not what do I want to do here, but what is my current return on attention? Yours would be freaking through the roof. Meaning, if Stilo says, hey, everyone, let's go, they're coming. So we need to know that ROA. We can't be like, oh, Stilo ain't going to bring a bunch of people. Let's just get 50 servers ready. And then Stilo brings the army, and we're like, oh, damn, didn't know, right? It's important that we know. We need to know that Stilo is capable of getting people to come on demand for long periods of time. And it's important for me to know whether your community is going to pay for that time or not. Because more than likely they won't, right? They want to come and hang out. They don't want to pay to dance, right? So now that we know that, okay, is Stilo going to pay for it? Nope, Stilo's probably not going to pay for it. You don't want to pay for your community to dance. So who's going to pay for people to come and have a great time? Won't be Omniverse City, because we don't have that sort of investor. I'm just like you, peer to peer. I just happen to have built the biggest domain in this bunch, but hopefully it won't be the biggest domain for long, because people got catching up to do. And last time I looked, this industry is pretty competitive. So you want to outbuild me in Omniverse City? You have my formal invitation. Please build a bigger city than I did. I'm happy to help you. But I'll tell you who will pay for that audience, for that return on attention, for that rich formula of success that you have, Stilo, that return on attention, that real time, always on, got to move my mouse for me to see it. So you know that I'm streaming full attention for 2 hours type of ROA that you have, that 2 hours times 5,000. You have 5,000 people coming for 2 hours, whether they're in there as an avatar or watching. If there's a billboard in Stilo's place and somebody's watching that rerun on YouTube or hearing it while they're cooking, if you know that that's the way they're consuming, and you have a smart sponsor that says, I'll do some, I'll do some content distribution in Stilo's place through avatars that are walking around with t-shirts, NPCs that we build, through video, video ads that we put up. Maybe there'll be a car so they can like take a break from Steve's place and go on a date and take my car to do it and just jump in. It'll take them to a mystery adventure that everything is like powered by, like, let's just say it's, let's just say it's Jaguar. I'll use one we haven't really heard before. Let's say Jaguar is like, I want to be cool and relevant again. I got some hot, sexy vehicles that I want people to really appreciate, like a Lamborghini. I'm going to build a Jaguar experience. So when you want to take a break from Steve's, you could jump for a free trip through Omniverse City in the Jaguar. We're going to take you to like secret speakeasy clubs that like, it'll just drop off like Uber and be like autonomous vehicles that you don't know where they're going, but you can't wait to find out type of thing. This like mystery express, right? And you're like loving it. Like that's where I see the future going. And the imaginations of everyone around us are not qualified to build 2 years from now, but they are qualified to come in here, get an imagination boost, get race 3 years ahead. Telling you, we are right now 2030 minded in Omniverse City. We're there. We need to be 2100 minded. That's our new campaign. Don't think 2030. We won't be here in 2100, but what we build will be if we build it right. So don't build for 4 to 5 years from now so you can enjoy it. Build for 100 years from now so that the future can enjoy it.
Absolutely. I'm loving the passion. I couldn't agree with you more. For me, in a couple years, I definitely see that thriving hub. I see people running around, meeting each other, having fun, in-game assets. Doesn't matter what content, if you can create where the currency doesn't matter, where it's just one spot, you pay with the whatever you got, and you get whatever you want. There is like there is like a strategy where it's like you can buy a song on my website for 99 cents, or you could buy it for $5.99 with a credit card, but you'll get it on the blockchain, and it has a different mentality to it. It's more of like, hey, do you want to stake this asset that you're listening to? You could own it, this copy, or you could actually own this original.
Well, but there is one really important point I need to make, Stilo, and that is, and you asked me before, what can people do here? Right now, we're building our community architecture. So we're inviting very specific people in that are building very specific things. One of them is Continuum. Continuum has a skyscraper in the business district of Omniverse City. They are attached to real capital markets, Capitol Hill, people that write the regulations that we need to follow. And you are not going to be able to build a domain in Omniverse City with any sort of off ramp or on ramp into any sort of currency unless you get it approved through Continuum. So we are vetting everyone that's bringing their currency here because we don't want to get slapped. I mean, OpenSea, not OpenSea, but NVIDIA and the latest one was yeah,
OpenSea did
OpenSea.
get,
It was OpenSea, right?
yeah,
I'm thinking OpenAI. OpenSea and NVIDIA are both facing. I'm sure they didn't want to trip these wires, and sometimes the wires trip themselves. They create the wire and trip them before you
yeah,
even know the wire is there. And having connection to people that can help you to navigate this space with common sense and common courtesy. We always talk about common sense, but common courtesy, like we are going to create a culture of all cultures.
yeah,
All cultures can come together, and we're just going to have one common culture. And it's the golden rule: treat others the way you'd like to be treated. That's it.
yeah. And I agree. I completely agree. Where I really do see people, businesses, brands going to a populated digital world and saying, "Hey, we need to set up shop here. We need to buy a space. Let's buy retail, and we need an employee." I do see people going to these worlds and going, "I need a job. Let me see what's up. If there's a job in this virtual city here, and looking through your mall and seeing a store, and they're like, man, what kind of job is that? What does that look like? To me, it's a moderator. It's a greeter. It knows. It just adds that genuine trust. Um, what?
So I want to give you a real-time example of what you're talking about. That is a complete 360-degree phygital activation. Okay. So remember, we started with the optical industry. The optical industry has been coming to the metaverse before any other industry for 3 years now. Okay. We still have the only optical metaverse, even though there's billion-dollar giants that own the entire optical industry. They didn't build a metaverse,
I
but we
got a
did.
question.
Right?
I got a question around this after. Yes, please.
Yeah. So, just real quickly, 7 years ago, before I was building metaverses, before I was building virtual shows, I resigned from my corporate job because I watched decentralization. I watched centralization happen around me. I didn't know that that's what it was called. I just saw my industry getting bought out from underneath itself. And I decided, because the company that was doing this bought my company, that I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. So I resigned and I just said, look, I don't have to love or hate the company that did this or what they did. I just don't agree with it. I want to help. I'm very much in the fight of David or Goliath. I'm David all the way. Every time, all bets on David. Even if David looks like David's going to fall down, I'm going to vote for the little guy every time. That's just who I am. So I decided, let me go see if I can help. 7 years ago, we've built in that time e-commerce portals, virtual try-ons, flexible models that allow you to buy online, pick up in store, integrated retail networks, physical retail networks. But I'll tell you what I love the most, Elo. The people that work in these optical shops are the ones that have been the most impacted by what's going on, because when you have large companies buying an industry, all the good jobs go bye-bye, because they can put anyone in these jobs. They own everything. They don't really need customer service because people don't really have a choice. They have an illusion of choice, but they don't realize that's what's happening. So you don't really need quality people there asking questions, taking time. As a matter of fact, that's opposite of the goal of what these large companies have. It's turnkey. It's like in and out, 10 minutes, don't talk to anyone, get them what they need. If it don't fit, they'll figure it out and come back later. And that's just not the way that glasses should be sold. So you see opticians that were working these jobs they're very much underpaid, resigning and coming to Omniverse City to build mobile and remote optical businesses, going into workplaces and helping people that don't have the proper glasses to see, to be safe in their job. Now, they don't come to the metaverse every day and clock in, but they do use the tools of the metaverse. And industrial metaverse design, which is what we are, does not mean that you have to go there. I mean, do you have to visit the cable company to enjoy cable? Do you have to visit the power plant in your neighborhood to enjoy power? No, we are a power source that you just happen to be able to visit and enjoy whenever you'd like. So you can check out the place and make sure we're still doing things the right way. You get to visit us whenever you want, 24/7. But if you don't want to come, you can still enjoy our resources.
I love that. And again, the passion and the vision is there for you, and it's there for me as well. I see it. I do see it happening. Um, just again, like this whole metaverse thing is so interesting to me. Like the word, you hadn't heard of the word in 2021, and it's like, what is a metaverse? And for me, it's like last week we interviewed Carmen Digital Femme. She gave us the five pillars, a platform, the people, the ability to create content, a token, like an ecosystem, and like a way to barter. And yeah, so there was like one more, but I forgot. But basically, I was thinking, what is a metaverse to us? When I describe the metaverse, someone doesn't think game. They think I'm in a digital world. I put these glasses on, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm in this place. And for me, I'm a very big VR user. I love going to concerts, checking them out in VR. There's not very many, but even when I throw my concerts, I'll throw the VR on just to get the feel, and I'll be like, throwing my hands up and everything. So back to the question is, the metaverse to me seems to like when Mark Zuckerberg coined the metaverse in 2021.
But he did it, right? You do know
Right.
that Snow
Yeah.
Crash was the first
Obviously.
one to use the term,
Yeah.
and
What I'm.
and
Or how
and he
about?
didn't
I'm
really
sorry.
use the term, he stole the term is really what he did. He tried Well, here's the funny thing. What he did, and I called it, he named his business Meta to claim it. Then we know none of us expected this. He couldn't own it, so he killed it, told everyone it's dead, held a funeral for it, kept the name, and declared that it's still dead. Does that mean you're dead? Like, clearly not, right? So
Okay.
it was so disingenuous, and I actually do like Mark Zuckerberg. I look up to him as a mentor. I think if you're going to do something to represent the future that's that profound, have a little respect for those of us that are following you, because we're looking to you for leadership, and that just wasn't a good sign of leadership from my perspective.
Yeah,
um
he did get it. Yeah, he
he got
definitely
away
did.
with it too.
He definitely did not have a very mass appeal, at that point for sure, especially after that one. But yeah, so
But I
for
I have an answer to your question, though,
yeah,
Stila. It's very
so
important.
yeah, for me, like the whole metaverse thing, it reminds me of like more of a social aspect. To me, the metaverse is the future of social media. I believe that. And we're going to be sharing pictures with each other, memes, videos in digital environments. I do that
So
every day. I did that an hour ago.
two
And
words, two words for the metaverse. And these are agnostic of all the other things that you said. Two words and only two words, from my humble opinion. And by the way, I think the metaverse existed long before the technology is today that we're calling the metaverse. I think it is the manifestation of the ultimate metaverse, which is shared reality. I want you to think about this for a second. You and I could be walking alongside each other at any place that we want to, a park, a beach, an amusement park just down the street. And you're going to receive information through your eyes, and your brain is going to process it, and you're going to see something very different than what I'm seeing. And then you're going to try to communicate with me about what you're seeing. And the further the divide is between your perception and my perception, the harder it is going to be for you and I to be on the same page. Now, social media took this to a whole nother level. It allowed platforms to take control of perception and say, this is reality, and feed it all to us and mind wash us in ways that we believed it. And then we took this like mind wash recipe into our real worlds and began making decisions in our real lives based on the perceptions that we were given and assigned in these social platforms. Thank God the physical technologies that make up the place that we are all calling the metaverse for different reasons are not yet controlled by these same companies. Thank God. Which is why they're trying to make us like slide a hand, like, oh, nothing over there. Look over here. No, 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 no. We have been here since the beginning. We know why we're here. We're here because I can create something out of my imagination to show to everybody and say, this is what I really mean. Would you like to enjoy it with me? Oh my God. That's what you meant, Charlene? That's what you meant by metaverse? You meant a place where we all like that's my interpretation. Doesn't mean it's right, but it might stimulate a new idea in you. Maybe you're going to take that and level it up or level it down or level it sideways, but you're going to at least understand where I'm coming from. So that's shared reality, not shared perspective, because you're going to come into my reality and still have your own perspective, but you're going to understand me in ways that you never could before. And I think data is something, it's not a word that we've used at all in this conversation yet. It is the most important word because the ability to now go into these shared reality spaces and understand not just how Charlene built it, why she did it, or why Stilo holds these parties and has people coming in and just releasing themselves and kids feeling free and adults mixing with kids and not feeling like they're an old fart because they're everyone's avatar looks the same age. So I can be cool again. Woo! Okay. Like this shared reality without the illusions of our physical form, because a lot of us are a lot more than that physical form. We're these social and spiritual beings that have an additional connection to our physical form. But no matter what your background in religion is, we all kind of know that our brains and our minds are pretty much different. And the metaverse is a manifestation of the mind. You have to have a vision to build in these worlds, not to enjoy them, not to visit them. However, I think that this manifestation is contagious in a way in these virtual worlds that they aren't anywhere else. Disney is the closest thing I could think of. You go to Disney when you're a kid, not when you're an adult, and you think, "Ooh, I can be a princess." When you're an adult, you're like, "Oh, long lines, blah blah blah." That's your reality. But virtual worlds break the most stubborn soul. I love it. I love seeing these like 60, 70-year-old white-haired men that have dominated everything pull me in the corner like a little boy and say, "Can you show me how to move?" can you show me how to, can you show me how to do this? This is fun. Like you see it on their faces. You're like, wow, it has got to you. Finally, something brought that little child back out of you again and dust off that imagination and get to fucking building. Let's fucking go. You know what I mean? Come on. What's going to happen when the world arrives? Who cares how many pillars there are? I don't give a shit. Just come and you only need one pillar, your imagination. That's it. Show the world what you're thinking. Come on, you're only here for so long. Leave your stamp. These tools, provided that big companies don't take them away from us, is the best way to leave your legacy behind. I can't think of a better way. Nobody's going to be able to tell my story. I told my story. I used the tools to tell my story. It is a living, real-time memorialization of me. I don't need a reel. I don't need Facebook to remind me of my memories. It is just authentically disruption-free me.
Love it. And I think that is the pillar. For me, I've experienced so much consciousness. I've gotten to play so many more concerts, like over 300 more concerts in the last 2 years, because, of the digital activation, the ease. I could just, it's cheap. It's free, it doesn't cost me anything. And, it's just raised my consciousness. It's
Yes.
raised my brand building. It's sped it up times 100.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful to have found this space to play
Mhm.
in, to experiment in, and play music and connect with other humans, brand build, co-collaborate with, and co-create. So I
And
wanted to thank you.
congratulations, because you're really, to me, using it the best out of anyone I know. Number one, if somebody says to me, how do you maximize the tools? I say, go to Dope Stilo Club, follow him. He's got it right. I'm sure you're still building, and I'm sure you're still dreaming, and I'm sure you're still trying to get to that ultimate goal from a success standpoint of what might be a reality of the, mansion on a hill type of thing. But if we're going to define success in the reality of really taking full ownership of the moment at hand and maximizing it, you are a millionaire. You're a millionaire in community development, in presence, in leadership. This generation needs someone like you that is at that age level, that is mature, and that is saying, look, you don't have to be 14 years old and shooting up a school. I mean, are you kidding me? How bad is the reality around that child?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we really do need to stop and pay attention. Like, why are we arguing about virtual currency when our kids can't even go to frickin' school? Why not focus on that? Why not fix the real problems around us and let the builders build? Because that's our job as visionaries, is to build really a future that gives tools to people who maybe don't have the imagination to start it, but they have the imagination to finish it. Aren't you seeing that? Like, people that are like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, oh my God, I want to do this, 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 this. And they're like, all right, welcome to the metaverse. Like, good
Yeah.
for you. Now go build something, right? Go tell a friend.
Yep, exactly. It's definitely changed my life. I used to feel very lonely, and I'm sure there's a pandemic, an epidemic right now of loneliness actually. The silos, the web 2 algorithms I didn't even know existed. So the metaverse, there is no algorithm, there is no time zone. I'm just grateful to be connected and feel connected to the world again. I could fly to France, I could fly to Siberia, South Africa, Canada, uh, you name it, Argentina, wherever. And because of the metaverse, I will have someone welcome me with open arms. And I've known people there for years now. And these digital experiences are real. They are. They're an extension of your life.
Absolutely. Your brain
So,
does not know the difference, by the way, between a virtual world that you visit, because it's still it's visual information. They did a study years ago, and because I'm in the vision industry, I'm privy to these studies. They did a study a couple of years ago when VR became really big, right? Either during the pandemic or after, because up until the pandemic, young children were not being encouraged to go into virtual spaces. And then during the pandemic, with all the learning challenges, it became, a really big trend. K through 12 schools in virtual worlds. And they did a study on these children. They took them to a virtual aquarium, and then they gave them a lie detector test to see if they really believed the answer to this one question. Did you really go to the aquarium? And they all answered yes. And they all were telling the truth according to the lie detector. So they really, truly believed that they went to an aquarium. And I think that goes back to where we started our conversation. When people watch you, they're like, I was there. I was there at that
yeah.
party. You're like, you watched the rewind. What are you talking about? But you know what? If you felt like you were there, who am I to take that away from you? Thank you. Welcome. You just gave me a +1.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, Charlene, for
Yeah.
explaining what you've been working on, and where
Thank
you're
you.
going and where you came from. It was a great, great chat. I really look forward to what you're building and what you do. You're a very, very special individual with a passion and a fire that is very, very unique and very rare. So keep doing your thing. I'm
Oh,
going to keep throwing these concerts. I'm going to keep raising awareness. I'm going to show people that, this is a dope thing. This is a dope, dope thing that's happening. For once we, feel connected. For once we can actually speak and be heard. So I'm great. I'm,
well,
I'm
and
grateful for you. Thank you.
Stilo, your community is one that I wouldn't have welcomed, like pushed into Omniverse City until I felt stable and ready. And with some of the changes that we've made to make multiplayer experiences scalable and sustainable, I feel very confident that we are definitely ready for multiplayer experiences of 100 or more, definitely. But we're also ready to begin helping community managers build own your own data standards. So I would love to follow up with you
Nice.
after this call and some other time, take you in and really just, I'm trying to learn from community builders like you. What do you need to, I wouldn't say migrate your community, because I think they're perfectly fine right where they are, but to maybe expand, like create
Yeah.
another location where you can have like this kind of change of scenery and a more kind of dynamic, expansive platform. I do want you to eventually come and join us as a builder someday because I think you could do some great things.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm honored and I'd love to. Definitely. I was going to say the same thing, an extension. Because, yeah, this would just be, I want it to just be a plus and bring value and have value exchanged. So I'm so grateful and for the platform. I love the graphics. I can't wait to throw a party in there because it's gonna look incredible. I've been wanting to throw an event where it looks like a AAA game. It looks like it's like
I
Call of
have a
Duty.
rooftop. I
You
have
know
a
what I mean?
rooftop nightclub, so we could
Nice. Do
start
we have
there.
do we have dance moves?
So we are, well, I'll tell you what, we are mixed. Well, we're Ready Player Me. So, what you might not know, and very important for people to know this, Ready Player Me was really designed for Unity. They kind of got it somewhat working with Unreal, but it is extremely challenging to
Yep.
integrate, Ready
That's
Player Me with Unreal Engine.
that's what
We
I've
are
heard.
also integrated with MetaHumans, which is also a challenge. They're in beta. And of course, we can build in-game characters, much like the Fortnite characters or any other character. We do use Mixamo currently, but we also can use any movements in Unreal Engine. There's two ways that I would recommend that we build Stilo movements together. Because what I would do with you is I would actually build branded moves, kind of like, how Fortnite did that, where you get a character and you
Yeah.
get that emote. So we can basically make a game like a quest where if you go to the rooftop and you attend a Stilo party, you get a move. So now if I meet someone in the street and they could break dance, I'll be like, you're with Stilo.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden the emotes become the NFTs, and we don't sell them as NFTs. They're not like on chain or anything, but it's kind of like a community badge of honor. So
Yeah.
yes, I would love to sit down with you, show you some of the options, have you design the ultimate emotes, and then you can work with sponsors and say, all right, let's design a move for you. And I'll tell you one thing we are doing. We're working with a company that is bringing, they're called Sneakr, SNEAK, capital A, capital R. Shout out to Ian Harrison, who's really, really, really throwing it down with these, NFC enabled sneakers. And he's working with the
Ah,
skate community. And so there are people now using mocap to capture moves of these like skaters and dancers. So we could definitely get your favorite Stilo,
nice.
fans and their favorite moves in real time. And we can use mocap to capture those moves and turn them into emotes. So we can actually create emotes in some
That would be
very
cool.
advanced ways. So,
Yeah, that sounds great.
and I'd love your help with that because we have the classic, moves, wave,
Yeah,
clap, jump, dance, move your hips. But I really want to do something different. I really want to do something special.
nice. Yeah, I believe in like a year from now, I want we'll be throwing some events planned 6 months ahead, ticketed, and really to bring that experience. So next week we're going to be in this museum gallery built by Schmers and Leonardo Marchesi. We're going to bring DJ 2 to Max, my homegirl from South Africa. I'm going
Yeah.
to be DJing. We're going to do some techno. I usually play my music, but we're going to take a break, and I've actually created some techno lately. So hence the glasses. I'm going into DJ Stilo mode. So yeah, thank you so much. It was so great talking to you,
You
Charlene.
too.
Again,
Two
thank you
things.
so
We need to
much.
design those DJ Stilo glasses with an eyewear designer. Why not? And number
Yeah,
two, I forgot that you create your own music. So we have a DJ right now playing in our rooftop, but why not have you come in and become our resident DJ of the month and throw a party together? That could be a cool kind of tie into everything. So
awesome.
we'll talk about that offline. But thank
Yeah.
you for this, Stilo, for giving me this moment. I'd love to see this video. This was a great interview. I
Oh
really
yeah.
appreciate it.
It's gonna be dope. Look forward. This is my second one. The first one again, we highlighted an insane creator from Second Life. Like that metaverse, like
Yeah.
2004.
I can't wait to
Uh,
see that.
oh my God, it's so good. And then we have you. We got Jake Steinerman from Spatial coming up. We got Tim
Wow.
McTokey from Ready Player Me. We got Jerome Jordan,
Wow.
ex New York Nick,
I'm so honored.
15-year
Thank
basketball
you.
player. We got Rick the Ruler, Meta Mike. We got some big heavy hitters, Luca Lupatelli.
I love
So
him. He's great. So
yeah,
listen. I have a proposal for you. because I've been wanting to do this. Can we
Yes.
create like a special edition of this where we get a bunch of people in and we start going to other metaverse platforms, not just Omniverse City? Like, I want to go into Second Life with a native Second Life user, and I have one. I want to go into Spatial. I want to go into some of the worlds that we haven't seen yet. I really want to create a proper Metaverse Explorers Club. Of
Nice.
course, I want to quarter it in Omniverse City so people
Yeah.
can come there and see different places. But we want to really create that interoperability thirst that we know this
Absolutely.
industry
The
really
no
needs to get connected.
Yeah, the more awareness, the better. The more content, the better. And, I have this like schedule Monday. Monday, I do Momentum podcast. It was so popular that I added Friday too. So now Mondays and Fridays I do that. Wednesdays I do Super Wednesdays. We do the Twitter space. We do this after party in Spatial, and then I have another space that night with someone else. We're planning a charity concert in 6 months from now. Where it's going to happen, we don't know yet. We're building in public. It's kind of the new vibe. So with that happening, I'd love to. Thursdays I do music. I really focus around music sessions, recording, Stilo's lab. Tuesdays, tech trek. Let's explore.
Oh my God, I love that. You didn't even use ChatGPT for that one. That was good. That was good. Triple T. Tuesdays, Tech Trek. I
Yeah,
love all in. Count
yeah.
me in.
All right.
TNT.
Thing
All
is, it
right.
has to be at the same time, same week, every day, same
Yeah.
time. So 11 a. If I don't know if 2 p.m. EST is good for you,
Yeah. It's perfect.
but
It's a
yeah,
good lunch break too for people, you know?
nice. Yeah, and
How
we
about
just
we call it
max it, and
a
every
tech
week.
trek break or something, like, because people know they get like, find time
Yeah,
to, like, detach from whatever you're doing and just have fun, you know?
yeah, and every week we just, we cap it at maybe a half an hour,
Yeah.
45 minutes, something like that, half an hour, uh, and we explore 2 spaces a week,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, between you, me, and all who we
and
know.
updates and stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Let's
Sounds
do it.
great.
All
Okay,
right. I'll see you soon.
bye.
Thank you.